We are looking for a fan for our third fan book choice. Do you want to be like Squiggy and Lindsay? Find out more information at www.bookinterrupted.com/fans.
Parental guidance is recommended because this episode has mature topics and strong language. Here are some moments you can look forward to during this episode of Book Interrupted.
Sarah and I didn't get along when we first met.
No.
I was good friends with Mare, and
sometimes narcissism takes a minute to get revealed because it's often with great charisma.
Next time I'm not going to believe you. You have to follow up your words with actions.
I think we probably all have at some point,
where you're like,
right?
yeah, it's just trying to be fun. No.
Of course. I give you permission to be as honest as you like. I have thick skin and I will not be hurt by any of this.
I'm scared.
Mind, body, and soul. The information is the goal. Try to learn something new without being distracted. Mind, body, and soul. The information is the goal. Try to learn something new without being disrupted. Mind, body, and soul. Inspiration is the goal. And we're gonna talk it out on Book Interrupted.
Welcome to Book Interrupted, a book club for busy people to connect and one that celebrates life's interruptions. If you'd like to join along, this book cycle is from February 14th to April 3rd. It's Sarah's book pick, and we're reading Talking to Strangers by Malcolm Gladwell. Something is very wrong, Gladwell argues, with the tools and strategies we use to make sense of the people we don't know. And because we don't know how to talk to strangers, we are inviting conflict and misunderstanding in ways that have profound effect on our lives and our world. Let's listen in to this episode's group discussion.
Okay, I have a good question for everybody because
We'll be the judge of that.
Well, okay. Oh, the pressure. Oh my God.
You can apply the 4 horsemen to this podcast group. Like,
no, I was
Who's going to get divorced?
Oh
Me and Lindsay
God.
right now.
Okay, no, this is about the book. So the book's Talking to Strangers. You guys were saying how the book is about how the implicit bias that we have when we meet somebody, when we're talking to somebody that's a stranger. So I was interested if any of you have met someone that's a stranger and right off the bat have had some kind of like bias or thinking that they're going to be exactly a certain way. And by talking to them or having those conversations, you found out the complete opposite.
When I first visited Senegal for the first time, it's like a cultural thing, right? So there was a woman that was a neighbor of my sister-in-law, and she came over, and we were talking. At some point, she basically said that she needed to teach me how to keep my husband because I wasn't Senegalese or something. And I took such a,
yeah.
Because it was like a joke. People tease people here all the time, right? It was light. It was something that people wouldn't be offended. It was like women talk, like being kind of like, ooh, okay. But she thought I wasn't good enough for Mamadou or something because of my bias that I came here and I thought she was saying like they weren't accepting of me. Right? So I remember going and I was crying in my room and I told them this woman, and then she came another time and she made another little joke. And so the second time I was like crying even more. I'm like, she's just trying to make me feel so bad. And so he told his brother. So they talked to her and then it was a huge misunderstanding and she felt super bad and had no idea. Yeah, and I feel bad to this day. So she'd come over sometimes and just be like really quiet, like she didn't know. And I felt like super horrible. Everyone, because it's Senegal, so everyone went and talked to her about it. And what is she doing? Not making his new wife that came visit not feel welcome. And she's like, I didn't do anything. I don't know.
She doesn't know how to talk to you.
I don't know what I did. I was trying to be a friend.
She was trying to make you feel welcome. She's trying to do the opposite.
Anyway, it was a whole thing. And yeah, so it was fine after, but not really. Because then she was always cautious and then I was always embarrassed. And,
Oh no.
But that happened to me the first time I ever visited
I feel like in this
Senegal.
scenario, I would be the joking person. I feel like I have been in the joking position before.
I think we probably all have at some point, right?
Yeah.
Right? Where you're like, he's just trying to be fun.
Of
No.
course. Yeah. Yeah. We have all put our foot in our mouth for sure. It's like the more I'm trying to not put my foot in my mouth about something, the more I do it, I find.
The more I kick myself in the face.
Yeah. Totally.
So I
what's
take
yours,
that
Kim?
question through a different lens where I would like to be able to know people first. Like I'd like when I first see them, have a good grasp of them. And I don't know if I think I do or I think I don't, but I've been trying to like observe if I do or not. I know from my history, if I really dislike someone in the very beginning, like this is like high school, however long later, I'm in love with them. So like I have a really strong like opposite reaction for some reason. So I started paying attention to that, being like, oh, I hate this person. I'm probably going to marry them. Although that didn't happen with my husband. I didn't hate him in the beginning. What I'm noticing now through my job. So I'm in charge of like a house. So multiple people live there and people have to, come through a process to come into the house to make sure that they're, in the right phase of their life and their recovery to kind of meet the obligations of the house. Like the house is meant to be a safe place. And sometimes if someone's not ready, they might come in with behaviors that create a challenge for the other people. And so it's important to be able to understand like who they are or what they are when they come, right? Like, are they lying because they just need housing or are they like whatever, right? But what I'm learning always is that you can't know. And so what I do is I just default, I take them at their word. I take anybody at their word. And this is true for everything, but it was become really magnified in my role in my job. You can never know. And this book is supporting it too. So you just have to believe what people tell you. And my litmus test is their actions. So after a certain amount of time, their actions will eventually reveal to me whether they're congruent with their words or they are incongruent, in which case then I can say, well, now I know that you're actually not honest because what you say is not what you do. And so it's the ultimate of actions speak louder than words.
Do you ever have a spidey sense though? Like,
definitely. This is I don't know how this. We'll just say it. I don't know how this is coming. I can
I know
tell
how
men
you can't really
who are
cite
like
an
unhealthy.
example,
I
but-
can tell unhealthy partners. I can tell men who are likely to be abusive. I can tell a certain type of man in the way that he behaves. I can identify like a level of selfishness, a lack of self-awareness, a level of sometimes narcissism. Narcissism takes a minute to get revealed because it's often with great charisma. I can tell the kind of man who's going to be a terrible person to try to have an argument with, I guess. And obviously, if you're in a relationship, that's even harder, right?
But in your work, then, do you have to go against your spidey sense because that's protocol?
So in my work, it's different. It's like a job interview, right? So if I just meet a regular person who's not trying to get my approval or anything else, and I can just have a chance to observe them 2 or 3 times, I can tell like, ooh, I wouldn't want to be in a relationship with that person. They lack insight, they're self-centered, whatever. And I can understand where I might feel like they need growth, right? But in my work, it's almost like an interview. So people are bringing their best selves with their answers that they know are probably, or they might be. People aren't generally coming to me deceptive. And then also the other thing too is a really major factor is whether you're deceiving yourself. People could be telling lies, but they themselves believe the lies that they're telling. And so that's where that actions versus words really becomes super helpful, because it's like, I know that you really think this about yourself, but the proof is in the pudding. Like,
I always say that to my kids all the time because they'll say things like, it's a bit different, but I say that to them. They'll do things like, I'm sorry about this, or they'll say things and I'm like, I honestly, lovely that you're saying these things. But the only things that matter in life are your actions. Saying things are nice, so say them. But if you don't follow them up with an action, they don't mean anything.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's a big one in my house.
You are what you do.
Like words matter.
Yes, but they're not, if you don't follow up your words with actions, they just fall off.
That's right. They erase them almost.
Which is very interesting to me, Sarah, that you feel that way because you are such a verbally lifted human. You do like verbal, the like love language thing.
Affirmations, words of affirmation.
Affirmations is so important to you. So that's kind of interesting. That's just an interesting paradox.
But she's getting affirmed for her actions. If people are like,
Yeah.
good girl, like you did the thing, she's like, yes, I did do the thing. So that's her actions that are getting acknowledged verbally. But Sarah's
But
point
aren't
is,
they maybe sometimes like, I don't know, I imagine, but in a partner relationship, your husband saying how there's lots of affirmations that go down, like your beauty or your dinner.
Well, there's that. It depends on the person though. I mean, I know what you're saying, but at the same
Yeah,
time,
I
they
just
talk
thought that was
about,
interesting for Sarah. Yeah.
yeah, like the love languages or whatever, but like
Yeah.
some people words matter more to other people than actions. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, so, maybe for one of your kids, words do mean more than actions for
Yeah.
them.
I think though that in my content it's like, I'm sorry, I won't do that again.
Yeah,
Or
the sorry.
when they're I'm not gonna do that, and you're like, well,
Yeah.
you have to not do it then.
Then you have to not do it.
Or you
Yeah.
actually have to be sorry. Sorry, an empty sorry means
Sorry
nothing.
is an action
Like,
word. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like show it. Or, tomorrow I'll do this, I promise. Well, that's fine.
You don't have to tell me,
then
just
if
do it.
tomorrow comes and you
Yeah.
don't do it, then next time I'm not going to believe you. You have to follow up your words with actions. That's what I meant. But you're right. Also telling people that you appreciate them and all those, that's important too. I also teach that to the kids because,
You're just saying if they conflict. You can't be like, I really
Yeah.
appreciate you
Yes.
making me dinner and then throwing it in the garbage at the same time. You're like,
Right.
well, the action is kind of telling me.
I don't really believe you.
Thank you
go.
for making me this delicious dinner. Yeah.
Ripping off.
Whatever.
Sorry, does anyone want to add to that conversation? Because I have a spicy twist on it.
Ooh.
Let's hear it.
Okay.
And it makes it about me, so it's my favorite.
Ew.
Now, I give you permission to be as honest as you like. I have thick skin and I will not be hurt by any of this.
I'm scared.
Because most of you, not all of you, but particularly these two. So I
Who
got
are they?
KJ
We don't know
and
who you're
Lindsay.
pointing to.
Who those two
AJ and
are.
Lindsay
Oh.
know me very well before we became podcast sisters.
Mhm.
And Meredith and Sarah, you're welcome to this as well. Am I the person you thought I was? And I can do you if you want me to. But
Ooh, I love
Oh,
it.
strangers.
Yes, I'm in.
Oh.
yeah, go for it. Knock me
Okay,
out.
so I
Bring your
thought
worst.
that you were, well, no, this is all good. I thought you were super cool, and you are. Spoiler alert, it's true.
Oh, good.
Yeah,
Well, I like
yeah.
that.
I have a thing too. This is a weird thing with girls, right? When I think someone's cool, I really want to like be their friend. I guess I'm seeking their approval. The humanizing, for lack of a better word, that getting to talk to you and know you through this podcast has created just makes me feel more on the level. Like I would put people who I think are cooler, like above me or something. And then like, you're like out of reach. And then I'm playing to you. And then now, because I know you, it doesn't mean that you're less cool, but I guess you're more human, like you're less of an idea and you're more of a person. And I'm really grateful for that, but you're still super cool. You are who I perceived you to be.
Yeah, I
Lindsay,
agree.
You want to
I
play
think,
or not really?
I mean, first of all, because Sarah made this group and Sarah loves every single person in this group, you ought, no matter what, every single person in this group, because I love Sarah and I trust her judgment, you were already up in my books. Like you were already accepted
That's nice.
because she loves you. Therefore, I will love you because I know her. And I knew about you like before, and I know your sister but you are just who you are. Like, I think the minute that you meet you don't try to hide, or you show your full personality right away from the very beginning. So I don't,
Oh, there you go.
there are things you've shared that I didn't know about you,
Sure. Yeah.
but I think what you come across is who you are to me.
You're very transparent, as they
interesting.
would say.
And
Oh,
authentic.
really? Oh, see,
Yeah.
I would think people would. Well, I guess you guys met me though when we started podcasting. I know we've met before.
Here's what I think you think. Do you want me to tell you what I think you think people are gonna say?
Yeah.
I think you thought everyone was gonna say, "Oh, you're so fun and whatever," but I didn't realize you were, because you're funny and out there and whatever. And then now that everyone's gotten to know you, you're not just the fun one. Like you have things to say. No?
I don't. No, I thought most people have given me feedback in life that's like, "Oh, you're very standoffish."
No way,
Oh.
really?
No.
Yeah.
Opposite for me.
But maybe that's a thing to do with me in-person perception as opposed to this form of really, like we've all had some really rocky podcasts Sundays where we're all been pretty like, so maybe that's the difference. Like in real life, I wouldn't have made it out in public to see you. You know,
But
what
you
I'm
never
saying?
standoffish. Like, even when you're
Oh, so this is so interesting. I think that I have a bad self. I don't know.
Yes, I think that's
there's
true.
a disconnect there, and you guys are proving my thesis. Lately, I've been feeling.
Yeah,
this
you
way.
think like a whole bunch of different things about yourself, and then when you are vulnerable enough now to reveal them to us, we're like, what? That's not our experience.
Yeah, I'm like, my radar's way off on.
Yeah, but that's not true.
I think it's everybody.
Because everybody's perception, like, even though mine and Lindsay's kind of feedback to you is similar, it's still not the same, and it'll never be the same as what you think, and it'll also be a little bit different for, like, because of the fact that we're the only us. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, our perception, no matter what, is influenced by all of our experiences and everything we bring with us, and you know, there's so many factors again. So in general, mine and Lindsay sounds the same, but we still don't experience you exactly the same.
Yeah.
Remember how like Kara sent out the, hey, put together this bio, and one of them was, my family, people close to me think I am, and I was like, I don't know what people think about me. Right? Like, I have no idea.
Extreme liberty. I'm like, they think I'm a genius and hilarious, obviously.
Is that what you said? I love you.
Yeah, I did say crazy things.
I asked her, I'm like, what do people think of me?
Yeah, I asked my mom.
Oh my God.
Obviously.
I did.
Do you find that your perceptions of people are locked into the first 2 or 3 times you met them? Like, my perception's like, Meredith is forever the wildest party animal I'll ever know. Because if you met her when I met her, she was the wildest party animal you'll ever know. She made me look downright boring.
I love that.
Yeah, that's true.
Whoops.
That's true. I didn't
And
think
you're
about
so
that.
not, like, you're just not that 20-year-old anymore.
We should play that game,
know.
because
We
when
haven't
I met
partied for a while
Meredith, she was a
together.
baby. But like, what I remember Meredith about is that she is the first bilingual person I'll ever know. Meredith speaks French. That's what I know. You know what I mean? Like, these are all just one face of the diamond.
It's so funny how you're like, what you remember.
Like, I lock into that first impression so much.
Yeah, Merit to me is like science geeky. We were both smart, and we did like weird things that other people didn't find interesting. And we're like, yes, look at this cool bug that we're gonna pin on a thing and talk about this.
I still had that project that we put in a it was like a photo album, and had different, like, it was a nature, I don't know what class it was for, but we were like in a park collecting nature bits and writing about them.
Oh, that's
I
sweet.
threw those out recently, but I still have
no.
a picture album. But it, like, I mean, there's like
it
old
could
leaves
have
in
been
there and stuff.
useful.
I might have it. I'll look around.
Yeah.
That's so funny. I didn't even think about that yet. When you meet people, that's what your perception of them is.
Yeah, like, Lindsay, you're kind of spot on what I thought. I thought you were really intelligent. And I always come across with like a fucking pervert with Lindsay.
That's your insecurity.
A pervert.
No, that's okay.
And I love your ass.
Yeah, like, Lindsay, I locked into like, oh, she's very intelligent, and she particularly fits what I like in girls.
Thank you for that.
You are a perv.
On a pervy level, there's no other way to say it. So, like,
Keep it up,
then I'm
Lindsay.
like, oh, yeah. So it's like, to me, it's like she's locked into that version, but I'm getting to know like a lot more about you. Sarah was always like my sister's best friend, so I always kept a distance from Sarah because I'm not allowed to have her.
That's my sister's
As
best
mine
friend.
first, because Kara and I have a lot of sharing related issues. KJ, I knew you from the minute I met you. You are exactly who you present. And then I had you as a client, so that was like a highly intimate, painful experience that I just feel bad
Made
about.
me cry.
'Cause I heard you repeatedly. But you're exactly who you are. Like, yeah, the minute I met you, I was like, yeah, it's all on the table there.
That's so funny, because I walk around being like, I'm a fraud. Everyone's gonna know. I'm so like
No,
so fraudulent.
Well, maybe it depends on what you're hiding.
I know,
but,
you don't know my secrets.
I don't think so. Yeah, exactly.
This interruption is brought to you by Unpublished. Do you want to know more about the members in Book Interrupted? Go behind the scenes? Visit our website at www.bookinterrupted.com.
Book interrupted.
Okay, for this audio interruption, I'm going to draw a tarot card. We just did an episode where we drew tarot cards, and now I am into it. And here's a little secret. I'm also going to do a video interruption of the same thing. Different card, though. So see how that worked out? More cards for me. All right, so the tarot card I'm going to draw for myself is, Nine of Pentacles. That is super exciting because a 9 is near the end of a cycle because the cycles go from 1 to 10. And on this card, you can see a man standing with his 9 pentacles at his feet, and he has 2 pillars beside him, which symbolize security. The pentacles are like usually tangible items, so like your money or your stuff, like your house or your job, and it can also mean self-worth. This will sound familiar if you have listened to the Off the Shelf with our tarot card readings. Anyway, so getting this card, especially today, because in Off the Shelf, if you did listen, you know that I already got the 3 of Pentacles. This is another reassurance that I'm doing well. I deserve to feel proud. I have accomplishments. I will be financially stable and or secure. And I deserve to feel accomplished in these ways where I may feel a little bit insecure. So it's always nice to get a reassuring card like the 9 of Pentacles.
Book interrupted.
Sarah and I didn't get along when we first met.
No.
I was good friends with Mare, and we're different personalities. Sarah likes things just so it has to be on time and it's got to be all this stuff, and I was like, I don't want to be on time. I was very extreme of that. And so it would go like we try to do things all together, and with Kara too. And it would be like Sarah be angry, not angry, but like frustrated with me because I wouldn't do things exactly the way that it was supposed to go. And I'd be frustrated because I'm like, I don't want to do it this way. And then
I was also back then, I was so controlling because I was rigid. Like I had like figured out, I thought, because I was young, that if you've lived your life in these shoulds, did all these right things, then that's the formula for happiness.
Success.
Right. And then I meet Lindsay, and she's like so opposed to anything on the shoulds that I was just like, no, but this is what we should do. And she's like, I don't need to do any of that. And I'm like, what? But that's what you should do.
Who are you?
I mean, like, anytime we try to plan something, she would be thinking outside the box, and I would just be like, no, this is the way. Yeah.
Get back in the box.
Get back in the box.
and sometimes we would drive, and I would be like, I'm driving a different time than Sarah because I don't want to go on her
schedule,
her timeline. And so Sarah would drive on the exact same time, and I'd be like, oh, I'm taking my time. I don't know. Sometimes Mare would drive with me or someone else, and as I go by myself, I was like, nope, I don't want to.
Because we should leave at this time to arrive at this time because that's the best time to do. Like I was very much in that because I always thought if I could control my life, then I'll have this happily ever after.
But I was rebellious about that. So I was like purposefully doing it to be the opposite. So sorry, but I was just being a jerk too.
No.
It was really good though. You you rounded each other. Do you know what I mean? Like because I feel like I reaped the reward of you wore down Sarah's sharp edges that were her controlling things that are controlling ways that are not healthy. And then she came to me and she was doing really healthy things, but she wasn't being like, you should do this, Kim. She was just doing healthy things. And I was like, maybe I'll try a cleanse. What's that about spirituality? Like the impact that Sarah had on me is huge.
Okay, but that wasn't my impact, the spirituality. Or
no, not the spirituality, but
the lack of controlling.
Yes. The fact that
Sarah just do this.
Yeah.
I was like, you could if you want.
Yeah.
I changed from should to could.
Yes.
Right?
And
like,
most people react better to that.
That's
Most people
true.
react to be like, hey, I know this thing. If you want to know, let me know.
Yeah.
You don't have to do anything.
But the best part was when I realized, when I had my like epiphany that you don't get a happily ever after if you do everything you should. I had a little breakdown. Kind of like in that book, Eat, Pray, Love, when she was like in the bathroom floor. That was kind of like me. I did everything I was supposed to do and I didn't have my happily ever after. I was like, wow. But after I got over that and realized, I could just choose whatever I want that I might think is happy. One of the first things I did was visit Schweitz in England. Yeah. So I was like, okay, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to visit her in England. And then
and it was great.
I had no plans.
Because didn't you visit her in Australia too?
Yeah, she visited both places. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that, see, she probably wouldn't have done those things if you didn't do those things. Like, I love seeing how we've.
Yeah, but it's funny too because I like rules. Like, it's not that I'm a very rule person. So it's
I don't know if you are.
But the research, that speaks to that research thing. She's like, I want to
Yeah.
make sure that what you're
You need
saying
to
is true
find your
is
own
true.
proof, I
Because you're not
think.
allowed to say things that aren't true.
Reasonable
That's a rule.
rules that are reasonable and make logical sense.
yeah, the
Maybe.
logic. It's
The logical things that
yeah.
are just rules for rules. It's just like,
I have
Yeah.
a really hard time if someone can't explain to me why we're following this rule in such a way that I'm like, okay, then I can't do the rule.
I had something that I hope you don't mind me sharing, and hopefully Kara
Never.
won't mind me sharing because she's not here. So
you can
I
ask
guess
her.
we'll ask
before
her
it goes
after.
in. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
while you were talking, Sarah, I had a realization that I don't know where it came from, and I got like a little tearful because I was thinking that I've always kind of wanted to get to be better friends with Sarah over the years, but didn't because she's Kara's friend first. The time they met, like when you're teenagers, there's those kinds of rules that don't exist as adults. And then I got kind of emotional because when Kara and you were very super close friends, almost sister-like friends, Kara moved out and was living at your place and a number of other places, but lived with you guys. And in our household, I felt very abandoned by Kara.
Oh, yeah.
And like left as a sister, and then she's gone off and like made these other sisters. What I was thinking about that got me emotional wasn't that like I felt abandoned. I don't know, at the time I was on my own journey probably, but that, oh my God, Sarah is of the group the one who's most like me,
Totally.
and that Kara just was kind of with another friend that's just, Sarah and I are so similar in how we do things and think, that she just couldn't do it in our home, and that she just replaced with a little
Leah.
Sarah
A little
Leah,
Leah.
and we will call her Lara. Lara. Not to take away any wind out of your sails, Sarah. I don't think that you would think that, but I started feeling like really warm feelings, and I was like, she didn't abandon me. She just couldn't be in our house at that time, but she needed her own little sister, and I couldn't be there for her because it would be going against some family shit.
No,
And
I
it
think
just
that's
made me
actually
feel really
true.
warm and cheerful and happy.
That's quite the insight you've had.
And you guys took care of Kara when she really needed a family.
Yeah, she did.
Yeah.
I think that's true because things that were similar, there's lots of things, but I know that Kara would say things like, I know we'll always be friends, probably like she knows she'll always be close with you because you'll just make sure we are. Do you know what I mean? Like little things like that we have similarities, like we're
classic
both,
taker.
like you're...
Classic taker.
And you can leave that in the show.
But yeah, you know what else she'll say? If she was here, she would also say our astrological charts are very, very similar except for our sun sign. She's told me that one. She's like, look, I've done you and Leah.
They are exactly the
Same, except for Scorpio and Capricorn. You're the same person. I'm like, well, that's pretty cool.
Anyways, I thought you would like to hear that, Sarah. It just made me feel
That
nice
is
and
nice.
warm because I like that now. I don't
We
know
should
what-
have,
It's like
we
a
should
little-
have Kara read or do a little personal journal about what we'll tell her about the conversation. Then she'd be like,
Okay.
yeah, it's true. And
maybe
her
she hated
response.
it. I
She'll
don't know.
love it.
Yeah.
No,
She'll
she'll
be like,
love
now.
Book interrupted.
Hey, Kara here. A couple of little birds brought me up to speed and filled me in on a few things that I missed out on. I am not sure how this topic came up because I wasn't there. So I'm really looking forward to checking out the podcast episode that contains the group discussion on talking to strangers. I do know from what these birds told me that it was my sister Leah who brought up her recalling the time in our life when we were teenagers and I left the family home, and how I started to, I was going to say latch on to Sarah. Indeed, that might be accurate. But yeah, just how that also coincided with me meeting Meredith and Sarah and really growing a friendship from there. Yeah, it's odd, the timing. Do you ever have this in life when something comes up, but it comes up more than once with different individuals, different situations, like different circumstances, but it's almost like a theme is kind of like presenting itself to you, and it's like happening all over the place. So I must disclose that when Sarah was sharing with me how this topic got brought up, I was thinking to myself, I'm like, wow, this isn't just a coincidence anymore. This is like numero 5. But yes, I don't, without having been within the context, I'm not too sure what to comment on other than saying I am grateful that I am at a point in my life now where I am able to look back at when I was about 16 years old and when Leah was about 14 years old, and I'm able to consider that time from different perspectives and not just coming from the very upset, hurt, tender, vulnerable, pained perspective that I carried for a long time. There's always two sides to every story, and my truth isn't necessarily the absolute objective truth. It's just my own subjective experience. And that was a really, really, really challenging time. Not only for myself, but for my family. But yeah, that's kind of like what landed me in Meredith and Sarah's lap. And yeah, I don't think I realized it at the time, but upon reflection, I do see how I was absolutely drawn to Sarah because she does remind me so much of my sister. I really wanted to enmesh myself with their family. Their family and Meredith and Sarah's individuals just contained a really nice balance. They are wonderful, caring people. I love Nana Charlene. That's their mother. And yeah, I think I did kind of try to just create my own family, really. I don't even know if I asked or waited for an invitation. I just kind of was like jumped into being a stage 5 clinger. And yes, Sarah absolutely did become and still is a sister to me, just a sister from another mister. You know what I'm saying? And it is ironic now that we look at it, how similar Leah and Sarah are. Of course, differences, yes, but in many big ways, they are so much the same. And I couldn't be more grateful. So that's just me weighing in on just talking around a topic and not really adding too much, except I just appreciate the opportunity to be able to chime in. And I cannot wait to check out the full podcast episodes so I can get caught up on what I missed. Thanks, guys.
Book interrupted.
I feel like it was real-time healing, right? Like you had that insight.
Sarah was talking and I was like, yeah. And I always thought of her as Kara's friend. And I was just like, I don't know, it's just interesting. Yeah, I had a real big emotion come all the way to the top.
It's like, and it's also like multiverse. Like Kara's the middle person, and you're Spider-Man episode 1, and Sarah's Spider-Man episode 2. But you're still both Spider-Man.
We're both Spider-Man. It all goes back to Spider-Man and the multiverse.
I hate to make this about myself, but I'm going to now.
Okay.
I want to say, Leah, that I've always felt like you were Sarah's friend first.
Yeah. I do.
Yeah,
well,
so I feel the same way about you,
that
you kind of feel like
about Sarah.
I always felt kind of kindred to Mare because I felt like Mare and me have the same almost medical history.
Yeah, like I always felt like we clicked.
I've never known anyone else that had this, and then we're both wild. And I thought, I wonder if that's a side effect.
I think that too. I always think about it. I'm like, I wonder if this is related to this. I'm like, I wonder if Leah has that.
And then we both chose very similar kinds of male partners. And we're both such alpha bitches.
I always felt like we really clicked. Like when we get together,
oddballs.
It's hilarious, right? Like it can get a little bit.
I'm like, she's a bad
Maybe that's why
influence.
you think of me as a party person.
She's the party animal.
Yeah. Well,
Can't spend too much time with this girl.
You're a party person.
I know, it's so funny. Like Mare, there was a period of time when you were a little more manic than you are right now, and that, like, when I would see you in those times, to me, that was not you, which is weird because you're
See,
saying,
that's my
to me,
perception
that's
of
like,
who her base model is.
yeah, no, to me, that was like,
Yeah.
oh, she's kind of manic today. Like, I remember bringing
Tipping
my
over.
boyfriend, at the
Yeah.
time that I had my boyfriend from England. Remember Matt Standing, and he came and we were meeting, and I was like, oh yeah, she's just on a manic phase. Like she'll calm down a bit in a minute, because you were like and going crazy and talking
a
really
little
fast,
intense.
like I'm doing. And so it's just funny that you say that, Leah, because to me that's not Mare at all. Like the crazy
Yeah.
partier. I don't know.
I've definitely calmed down.
So
It's like-
my side note is Mare is the most different from my original perception.
Oh.
Like I knew, because I know your schooling history and I know your career history and I know adult things about you now, but my original perception of you is apparently way off.
I've definitely calmed
there you
down. You
go.
know that movie Legends of the Fall, where he's real
Yeah.
wild when he's younger,
doesn't.
and then he starts
Yeah.
like calming down and settling down. I feel like that I relate to that movie.
Ah, wow. That's a great movie.
You're
That
Brad
is so
Pitt.
funny. What a thing. I like Tristan. Like that's what you're Tristan Ludlow.
You're
Oh.
Tristan.
Yeah,
He's so dreamy.
isn't that bad? Is that bad?
I'm like, I thought you were gonna say like that movie Go or something. You know what I mean? Like some raver.
Yeah, that was a very
But she Legends of the Fall.
Legends of
the
the Fall.
Fall.
And he even
She's
leaves home
Tristan.
for a while to go have wild times around the world doing whatever.
So true.
And then he comes back. He's like, I've got it out of me. I'm ready to settle down.
Yeah, I'm okay now.
I like it.
I did it all.
like it.
I'm good.
Cool.
That was a really good conversation. Like it was, I love that because like the book kind of generated the talk, but then we got like really personal. Like, oh, how do I know you? And are you who I think you are? Or what I thought when I first met you?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
My perceptions
Cool.
about you wrong. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I like hearing other people's perceptions of me in comparison to what I think about myself in general, because I know everyone's I was going to say everyone's always, that's not fair. But in my experience, I'm harder on myself than anyone else would ever be, you know?
Mhm.
And so when people reflect back what they see about you, it's usually nice. And then I'm talking it out now. I'm like, well, once my mom said I was selfish. That wasn't bad.
You're thinking of all the bad stuff?
Totally. And then I rest my
skeleton
case.
to that statement.
my own
Yeah.
brain was like, no, that's not true. People don't like you. Don't forget.
Do you think like
Don't
everyone's
forget.
been called
Don't
selfish at
forget.
some point in their life?
Well, probably
Like, at
because
some
people probably
point-
have been selfish. I mean, it's okay
Yeah,
sometimes.
everyone's
It's
selfish
just not
sometimes.
a good autopilot, you know?
It's
I
like
think-
it's a classic thing to say during an argument. You're just being selfish.
Yeah.
That's when you're not connecting. You know,
Right.
when you're not relating with each
Your
other.
needs
the other
conflict.
person seems selfish.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I think I have a higher inflated sense of myself than I think other people do. So I think I'm the opposite. I'm like, I'm very smart.
I love it. You're a secret egomaniac?
Maybe.
So you're saying
I used to have what Lindsay has, and it was a great way to live. I used to have Cindy Crawford on the inside, and sometimes I was just like, well, that doesn't align. And something about becoming a mother shook my foundation of self so badly that I've been in a shame spiral ever since. No, not really. But I have been really having trouble re-identifying stuff. Probably because that little monster keeps reflecting my shit back at me. What a dick.
it's funny because mine's the opposite. I feel like I like wasn't who I am, and then I had
lots
my
of
baby,
parents
and
say
it like
that.
knocked me into my authenticity more.
Oh, that's interesting.
It is like,
I've heard lots of people talk about parenting that way. That it has.
and I'm also a
that.
secret egomaniac too, Lindsay. I hate myself and I really love myself. So
Yeah, I go. I do
very,
this.
yeah.
Maybe
Yeah,
we
yeah.
all are. Yeah, we
Yeah.
probably all are. That's why we keep repeating the same stupid patterns.
Yeah. And so now we're going to end on that. We all keep repeating the same stupid patterns.
That's
Pattern.
right. We are all
Yeah.
egomaniacs and we hate ourselves. On Book
Yeah.
Interrupted.
Book Interrupted.
Boom, boom.
Hopefully
That was
the
simple
entire
to say,
world is
whatever
also
that's-
going, me too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
It's
think
funny.
so.
I think like having children calmed me down a bit because I'm
Me too.
forced. I'm forced to work on my patience. Forced
Oh
to
yeah, that's fucking worse.
to become less reactive. Otherwise, it's just my kids are intense like me, so it can get it can get
It
nuts.
can get intense.
Yeah, just gotta
My
calm down.
tangible was just like, you know, if he's gonna, like, I'm like, you're serious? You're actually gonna wake up at a 6 or 7 every day. I need
Oh,
to
that would
stop
be a
drinking. I've
dream
got to
if
stop
this-
drinking.
Are you serious?
You serious?
This isn't going to work.
Mhm.
Oh, you know what's funny? I was repeating like, "You serious?" And then Siri like tried to chime in from my screen. He was like, "Yeah, I'm here. I've been listening this whole time. I've made you a shopping list on Amazon."
Oh, I hate how it's listening all the time. Like I haven't been
Like,
searching
fuck
anything,
off,
but
Siri.
I read this book that Squiggy recommended.
Yeah.
And so I was talking to Dan about it. I was reading as I tend to. He'll be like doing something.
Can
I'll
you
be
say what the
reading.
book was?
Sorry about that.
Funny
What we
when
don't
you
talk
did it.
about when we talk about Fat by Aubrey Gordon. But and just talking to Dan about what the book's about, I'm getting all sorts of ads that I think I don't normally get. And
So
it's super annoying.
There
I
was
haven't done any Googling or anything.
I recommend the movie Snowden in the same sense. I don't know where I got this information from, but it's not that they're
The
listening.
theme of this pod.
I know I don't know anything, but here's some more info that I got from the multiverse. It's not that they're listening, it's that the algorithms are so smart. So like, and this is my really elementary understanding of it, but like, so if my cell phone goes near Mare's cell phone, which it obviously would if I went to visit Mare, then those cell phones like cross-reference the algorithms. And then anyway, so you put in a text, I'm reading that book, Squiggy or whatever, you put it in your phone. So it's less like someone's actually listening to us, and the algorithms don't need to listen, I guess is the point of what I learned. It's that all your Facebook friends, for example, they're factored in, and anything like that, that's how it comes up with these ads. Although the same exact thing happened to me too. I'm going to go completely contradictory now. I was talking about a boot store in like Nelson, BC with a friend of mine, and did not, I don't think, do anything on my phone other than have it present while we talked about that. And then I got an ad for that exact boot store.
Oh
Right?
yeah, that
Very
happens all the
suspicious.
time. Yeah.
I've even
I was
thought
just say
something
that-
once and it came up.
Oh.
Oh.
I had it for the sleep types. I had not put it in my phone. I didn't type it to anyone.
Yeah.
We were talking on the podcast, and that night I got an advertising about it, and I was like,
Oh yeah, it's always listening.
easy.
You know what pisses me
Well-
off about these ads I'm getting for this what we don't talk about when we talk about fat is that the ads
Or diet ads, aren't they?
are yes.
That's what I would
And it's
guess.
like,
Doesn't shock me at all. That doesn't
about-
shock me at all.
And it's stuff that's actually ads that are kind of targeting people's anti-fat bias, kind of scare stuff, right? And I was just like, damn it, did you read the book algorithm?
Read the book.
Try reading the book algorithm. These ads aren't appropriate at all.
Yeah.
So Meredith's
Interesting.
podcast would be called "Just Read the Book" algorithm.
Just read the book
AJ's would be
algorithm.
called "I'm repeating something I heard somewhere."
Somewhere. And I don't have any of the information.
Somewhere about someone, and it was about something.
Or AKA Lindsay's nightmare.
That's great.
Thank you for joining us on this episode of Book Interrupted. If you'd like to see the video highlights from this episode, please go to our YouTube channel, Book Interrupted. You can also find our videos on www.bookinterrupted.com. Do you have a book that you love and you've been thinking about submitting for a Book Interrupted fan pick? If you have, the time is now. Our next submission deadline is March 4th. We hope to hear from you and your book. Thanks again for joining us on another episode of Book Interrupted. Moments you can look forward to on next week's Book Interrupted.
It's tough being called out by Malcolm Gladwell, though, sometimes. Man, that's me.
You know, the guy who's hiding in his house with a bunch of guns, who's afraid of everything.
Yeah.
So what is the better option?
Things that are happening in their relationship. If you've never met the guy, you might be like, clear red flags. But
There's a whole gender dynamic that I don't think that he acknowledges.
I didn't see this book coming. I don't know what I thought it was going to be, but I found it really hard to read.
Book interrupted.
Never forget, every child matters.